So what I've already shared is the Kiss of Texture stamp set with the stylish shaped dies to make something like this card here. And I used these different solid images as well as some of the detailed images on this card. So if you haven't seen me make this card, make sure you watch that video as well. But today I wanted to do something a little bit different. So the Kiss of Texture stamp set, you can obviously kiss these images together. But what I want to show you today is that you can actually take images from the Kiss of Texture, these solid images, and kiss them with any other images you might already have. So the Memorable Blooms has been a very popular stamp set, and I'm going to choose this large floral image from that and kiss that together with the circle from Kiss of Texture. So let me go ahead and pull a few things in. I think I'm going to start with just this basic white piece of cardstock, and I have Peach Pie ink. And like I said, I'm just going to take that circle image and make sure I get lots of ink on there. I'm going to stamp it 1, 2, and then before I stamp it the third time, I'm going to add ink to this floral image from Memorable Blooms. And then just because of the size of this stamp, I'm going to set that down and instead set the smaller one that I can manage a little more easily down onto the stamp. I kiss it and get that detail on there. And then when I stamp it, I have that. So it's a defined area where I can have that little bit of color in the background, and I just stamped off a couple of times to make that just a little bit lighter. And then what I'm going to do is take one of those dies from the Stylish Shapes and just set it right over. I'll put it face down, of course, but just so you can see the detail. I set that over, and then when I run that through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, I get my piece like this that's all ready to go. Now, had I not stamped off, stamped the circle first with some ink, if I had just taken my clean circle, let me actually clean it a little bit here. If I just took that, inked up the floral image, and then kissed without adding any ink first to the circle, that's where we get, you can see the detail on there again, that's where we get just an image like this, that when I cut it, there's no color in the background. So for this particular card, I needed just a little bit of color so that there was a little more contrast. So that's what I've got going on here. So one more thing I'm going to do with that large floral image from Memorable Blooms, my card base is Peach Pie, so the same color as the ink I've been using. And what I want to do is just take this large stamp, and I'm just going to put a stamp of the flowers in each corner like this. So just tone on tone, Peach Pie on Peach Pie, just to break up the background a little bit there. Okay, so the color I'm using with Peach Pie on this card is Copper Clay. So you can see it's a good copper. It's got a little bit of an orange undertone to it with the brown. But this Copper Clay is one of our retiring in colors. So that's going to be going away pretty soon. If you haven't gotten it yet, it's a great color to have in your collection and variety of ink colors. Maybe you did get the ink pad, but you need to get the ink refill or get another package of cardstock. All of our ink colors that are 2023 to 25 are retiring soon. And so you'll want to make sure you stock up on those. Now, what I did was I went ahead and I took some Copper Clay and die cut it with this larger circle. So this is the one that I had used before on the white, and then this one I used on Copper Clay. Love how they all coordinate. So then this, I'm putting in a new embossing folder. I don't quite remember the name, but it looks like just corrugated. We used to have this thing. What was it called? I think it was just called like a crimper. And you like fed the cardstock into it and you cranked this thing on the side, you just like twisted it, and then it came out of there corrugated. And that's the idea behind this embossing folder. So once again, once I put it through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, then I get a piece like this that's got those fun grooves on there. So what I'm going to do is take some of my Stampin' Seal adhesive and just go ahead and run this across the back. And then I'm going to put this on my card, and I want my lines to be going horizontal like this, a little bit higher than center. So this would be about center. I'm going to bump it up just a little bit and try to get it centered left to right. And I'll just press down on that. And then this piece that I kissed and die cut, I'm going to pop up with some Stampin' Dimensionals. And you'll see there's just the edges left, and I use those edges. So don't just use all the full hexagon shaped dimensionals and then think that you should throw your sheet away, because these little edges work just fine. I can easily tear it with my finger and get even more out of my package. So I use every little last bit until that sheet is completely bare. Okay, let's see. I will just put this on in the center like this. So that's popped up a little bit. So I'll pull it in so you see the stamping in the corners, and then this corrugated circle, and then the focal point raised up with Stampin' Dimensionals. So on that same piece of basic white that I had before, I'm going to take my copper clay ink, and then in the memorable blooms, there's this image that says "You are awesome." And so I'm going to take that and ink it up and just stamp down here at the bottom. And then you can trim around it with a paper trimmer, or you could have cut it first. Sometimes when it's little, I just like to freehand it with my scissors so that I can get real snug and just trim around it. It doesn't always mean that it's exactly perfect, but it works. Okay, I'm going to do just a little bit on the bottom, and then we'll add that to the card. And I just have one little trick to show you here. So when I place it on the card, I want it to be flat on here, but if you remember, the white was raised up, so I need a dimensional under this part. So again, going back to the edge, I'm just going to take that, put it over here, and then do some regular adhesive on this end. So this is already raised up, so it will just stick on that raised part, and then putting a dimensional at this side makes it balanced and straight across, okay? If I put dimensionals on both sides, this would be up even higher, and if I didn't, then this side would go down. So by doing the dimensional just over here, it, I don't know that you can really see it, but it helps it to be just flat and balanced out. So just a couple of more things to do. These are, I think they're called Earth Tone Shimmer Gems, and I'm just going to take one of those, and I'm just going to put it right in the center of the flower there. It's got a lot of facets on it, and so you can see just how it shimmers, but I like it because it's pretty flat. It's not going to bulk up the card that I want to send in the mail. And then finally, I went ahead with some linen thread and tied a little bow. With the glue dot, I just like to take my fingernail and just kind of roll it up, and then I'll place it right up here in the corner, and then I'm going to just set the bow down into it. So I just set it and kind of smash it in. And you can play with the ends of the linen thread sometimes. Remember, like curling ribbons? Sometimes I just take the end of my scissors like that and just see what it does. Just kind of curls it a little bit, gives it a little bounce, and kind of calmed it down because it was coming right up off of the card. So I could play with that a little more. This one's a little bit long. And yeah, all right. This one's bugging me too. I'm a little And I'm just going to curl it a little bit more. It's one of those things I should probably just stop, but okay, I like that better. All right, so this is what I have for you today, my quick and creative card, using the Kiss of Texture and Memorable Blooms. So like I said, the Kiss of Texture is a great stamp set. It gave me this card. It's got details. It's got solid images, but don't limit yourself there. Take those solid images from the Kiss of Texture and use it with whatever stamp sets you want. I loved using it with Memorable Blooms. The focal point I just think is gorgeous. And then the details with the shimmer gem, the linen thread, and of course that textured cardstock behind it just really make it a special card. All right, that's what I have for you today. Thanks so much for watching.